Good morning. Hi, everyone. I'm gonna click out really quick so I can see all my windows. I'm glad there's some of you in the room. Good morning, Robin, and good morning, Amir. Hello, guys. Um, I don't know. Welcome back to our Thursday class, I guess. Um, Hi, Keon. So we finished everything for chapter 11. And so today is kind of extra, and you know, I hope this will be helpful to you. I think it will, but it'll be a lot of talk about courses and what you can do to just set yourself up through every step in your education. um, so it'll be a lot of just talking, us, me and you. Hopefully more you than me, because that's no fun. But maybe after 11 too, we'll have a guest and see how it all goes. Um, Depending on how many questions you all have, I think we might go until 12:30. Maybe not. I don't know. Good morning, Daniela. So yeah, that really just depends. But I will tell you um, today up to what part we're actually officially done. Good morning, and good morning, Kian, to everyone. So when we talk right now in the morning, there is actually an assignment, a part of this that'll be part of your lab for next week. So um, I think you want to stick around for at least 30-40 minutes, and then I'll tell you the point where, hey, everything from here on out is optional, but strongly encouraged because it'll be very helpful. Um, yeah. Any comments, questions, concerns from you guys? No? Next week, I'll tell you in detail how the rest of the week will go. So uh, I don't think you should worry about it at all. But I know you're curious. So just wait until Monday and we'll have the full talk about how the last 4 days of class will go. Um, Either way, as always, I promise you, you're going to be okay. Oh, I did just finish grading exam 2, and I posted those grades just now. And that's might be a good way to start. That just in general, an announcement. If you're doing well in this class, keep doing what you're doing. If you're putting honest effort in and you're doing just okay in the class, that's all right. It's totally okay. But I want everyone out there to know, no matter what your grade is in this class, no matter what you do in this class, whether if you do anything good, it doesn't matter. You're fine. You're in a good place. But let's say you happen to like do like really poorly on an exam, or you happen to cheat on an exam and it's very obvious or something like that. Know that I don't take any of that personally. So at any moment, you can still come talk to me and we can still figure out things. So just know, no matter what your grade is ever in this class, good or bad, or in an assignment, you could still come talk to me, and I'm still going to try and help you with whatever you need. So um, the average on the exam was an 80, which I think is really good. I'm very happy with that. Good morning, Owen. Welcome. Yeah, so check that. I'm pretty sure I will finish exam 3 around tomorrow morning. Good morning, Bafar. Good morning, Saja. Wow, everyone. We went from 10 to almost 20. Maybe we'll get a few more soon. So I'm pretty sure I'll finish exam 3 tomorrow morning ish, somewhere around there. I just need a gap of time. Um, and then I think I can finish the rest of the grades also by Friday, hopefully way before, like, maybe morning Saturday. The drop deadline is Saturday, so you should have a good idea where your grade is on Saturday. Yeah, yeah. Good morning, Andrea. Hello, everyone. So just keep checking back, keep checking on your grades, and um, email me if you want to talk about anything. Yeah, yeah. Okay, last and final call. Any comments, questions, concerns? I'll remind you, in case you weren't here, that we did finish chapter 11 yesterday. So today there is no actual physics. Yeah. Comments, questions?
You
You
said
s-
with some. I think I'm hearing myself. Never mind. So did you say the exam 3? You said Saturday or something?
I think tomorrow morning is my goal to finish it.
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds great. That's
Yeah,
fun.
that's my goal. We'll see how that goes. Um, yeah. I gotta say, you want to be very realistic with yourself. You don't need to see a grade for me to know if you didn't answer a question, right? So if you
Yeah.
didn't answer a question and it's blank, you know that's a zero out of whatever, you know. So, um, or if you didn't turn in an assignment out on Canvas, you don't need my zero to tell you that you didn't turn it in. You know that stuff already. So, um, you know, make a judgment call and talk to me if you need to. Um, yeah, yeah. Okay, so again, today we're just going to go over in the beginning an assignment for next week. And it's an assignment that I do for all my classes. We took a little break because of Zoom, but I'm slowly bringing it back into a few of the classes, not all of them. Oh, a quick comment from Daniela. I noticed the seminar you mentioned has a third day, but that is scheduled as a networking event. Does that count as extra credit too? If so, how would you like us to show proof? Yeah, you could attend that. Proof would be the same proof you would show in any other way, some sort of screenshot of you being there, interacting with people. And the networking, you know, you're going to interact with people and you'd want to write about that. Yeah. If it's still, if, you know, it still doesn't make sense to you, email me your specific. Okay, okay, that works. But anything else, just email me, and we can go into specifics for yours. Um, okay, so back to this assignment. This is going to be next week. You will have two labs. This is one of them. Um, and you're going to have plenty of time to do both. I promise you, you'll be fine. So this is an assignment I do for all my classes, and like I said, it took a little break on Zoom, but I started slowly bringing it back um, during the fall in my engineering courses. It started coming back. So if you take me again, you will probably have to do this again. So that's okay. Now, let me start my slideshow and I'll show you what the assignment is. Okay, let me share my screen, move my boxes around. Okay, I can see all of you and I can see the chat, and hopefully we get more people because you got to watch this for lab anyways. Okay, so this lab and this activity is usually also I do this in the first week, but because of Zoom and winter, you know, I'm just trying to figure out where we can get the assignment in at all. So this assignment is called Hello, My Name Is, or it's a name card. So I'm wanting all of you to create a name card where your name is the center of attention of the card. And really, what I would want to see on the name card, really most prominent, is your name. What it is that you want people to call you or know you or kind of remember you by. Um, so, for example, and that'll be the whole front of the card. The back of the card is more of the assignment. And I'll tell you guys about the back of the card in a second. So, the point of this name card is one, for me to get to know you guys. Your personality outside of class, right? What is the thing that makes all of you unique? And that uniqueness is what brings you into the sciences and makes you a very unique engineer, scientist of any sort. So that's what I want to know. And so this name card, I'm hoping, will go beyond just showing your name, but showing a lot of the things that you like in life. And so let me show you some examples. And again, I want to remind you that in the sciences, you have to be willing to do a little bit of design It doesn't have to be a certain style of design. It can be any style of design, but you have to be willing to draw something even simple or come up with something, some design, some creativity. Yes, I'm really into art and drawing and any type of, creativity you can do through art. And I think it's a big part of the sciences. So that's what this assignment is. So on the front part of your card, you would write your name. My first name is Velvet. The H is silent. I'll tell you, I'll tell you soon why. So I would write my name Velvet as large as possible and put kind of anything behind it. So let me show you some of my favorite name cards through the past maybe 3 or 4 years. And these are all for name cards that have been done in class. And let me remind you, this would have been done in class, in lab on the first week. Oh, I see Noah. It would have been done in the first week, and I would have given you all the tools that you need. I would have given you colored pencils, markers, stickers, glitter, feathers, everything you could think of. I would have it there for you. So now we have to get creative, and you have to do whatever you can. Before I show you the examples, Luis, did you have a question? Okay.
No.
No, okay. It was just he was stretching his arm. Okay, so here they are. This is one example, and I usually do this on a big index card, which is half of the size of a normal piece of paper. So a normal piece of paper is 8.5 by 11. It's half of that, so 8.5 by 5.5. I would also give you the index card, but you don't need that. You could do it digitally or on paper. But here's what these cards look like, and look at how amazing they are, all from different science backgrounds, all at different levels. And every single one of these students, I can pull out this name card and tell you about the student in detail. And ultimately, that's what these name cards are for. They're for me to get to know you. They're for me to get to know you, and really they're for me to be able to write a letter of rec in the future so that I can remember you beyond this class. And let's say you're a person that doesn't like to chat in the box in the Zoom class, or doesn't like to talk in Zoom class. I know you were in my class, and this name card will tell me a lot about you, even if you're not very active. Keon, yes, you will have to do another one. And I promise you, since the last few weeks, there's a change. Daniela, yes, you will be able to do a digital collage, and I'm going to show you an example of the digital versions that my engineering 101 class did last semester. So these are in person, but let me just tell you a little bit about each person super quickly. I'll tell you the obvious one. This is Alyssa. She came to visit us as a tutor here. Alyssa did like 4 of these cards because she's been in so many of my classes. And I think this might have been one of her last ones. And if you know Alyssa and her personality, you know it's very much, you don't expect what you get out of Alyssa sometimes, and it's an enigma, but it's just a cool person to be around. So this is Alyssa. You see, it's very colorful, but then it goes into kind of the unknown, and then Alyssa pops out, and that's so descriptive of her. This one is my favorite, Segal. Segal I had maybe 8 semesters ago. And Segal transferred to Cal State Long Beach for computer science. And then like semesters later, she just happened to walk onto Tradetech's campus, and out of nowhere I saw her and I said, Segal. And she was shocked that I remembered her name. She also took classes at El Camino, but it was because of this card. She wanted to do computer science, and look, she integrated her name into the NASA logo. So that really tells me that she is looking to be at like the forefront, right? She's not wanting to work at a startup, but she wants to be at like NASA. She wants to be a part of big science. And so this card I remember a lot. This is Alvaro. Alvaro took a lot of our engineering courses and took my materials of engineering courses. He was a docent at the observatory. Look at this drawing. It's so, yeah. And at the time I was also teaching astronomy. And so I took my astronomy class to the observatory, and there was Alvaro explaining about the Foucault pendulum. And next semester, you'll probably hear more about my materials presentations, which are huge in the department. Alvaro presented and did an amazing job, and it makes sense because his job at the observatory is to speak science to the public. So, um, something I always remember there. This is Ariel. Ariel, also one of our engineering students, took all my physics classes and materials. But look how creative he spelled out his name using the different components of engineers. Right? You see the crane, which we do a lot in engineering 101. A pillar, the helicopter dropping down the second half of the A. I think that's really cool. He actually just finished his applications for transferring too, so we'll see where he goes. This one's really cool. This is Martin. I also make my astronomy class do this. And guys, the astronomy class is for students that are not science majors. Half the time they think it's an astrology class, but we clarify on day one. But Martin was not a science major, but out of 70 students in his astronomy class, his card just stood out to me. And I stayed after class to talk to him, and he told me all his background and his story. And he was so just into it. And the semester after, he took engineering 101. Even though he was not a science major, he took it just to learn about the growth mindset and the mindset you need to like be successful in life. And let me tell y'all, out of the 3 major competitions in that class, he took one of them, and he's not an engineering major. So I mean, you can see it in his artistry here. Like, he's into design, but not for the science purpose. I think he wanted to do film and build sets, something like that. And then the last one I'll talk about is Ozzy. Ozzy was I loved his because Ozzy wanted to be a mechanic, but not a mechanic that has his own business. He wanted to be like one of those mechanics on Top Gear and he said that to me specifically, who, designs like really high-end cars and really goes deep into the engine work and then the design work of the car. And you see that here. You see that in his gears. You see he's really proud to be from Mexico. And he also worked at the Bank of California. So during the LAFC games, I would see him. It was nice to see. So these are some of the older ones, and here's another set of some of my favorite ones. This is Joanna. She wanted to be a biomedical engineer. Look at how cool those gears are within the heart. This is David. David just applied to transfer. He's a really good student, and he's also taken all of Dr. Navarro's engineering classes. We talk mostly about the Lakers when when I talk to him, but look at his background. It's amazing, right? I love knowing that he's interested in companies like Northrop and SpaceX and Boeing and Raytheon. So this is Tyrone. Tyrone wanted to do computer science, and he wrote his full name along the edge here, using, what is it? It's not Morse code, binary, right? Something like that. Thank you. So you just see that these are all wonderful. Oh, this is Brian from Engineering 101, but he was a high school student many semesters ago too. I love that he had France, the Eiffel Tower in here, the note, the puzzle pieces, but then this light, right? The light you see on the street lighting up his name. I thought that was incredible. And this is Eswin. He was one of our students, and he also worked with us as a student worker, also from Guatemala. So I very much love his flag and the quetzal. And so him and I would talk and share foods often. Yeah, these are pretty cool. And yeah, the shading on all of them, the drawing on all of them is amazing, right? Okay, before I stop showing you, I want to show you a few of the Engineering 101 name cards from this past semester. I had 2 classes, so this is a few of my favorite from that class. And that class is the first class to have to do this assignment over Zoom. So you're going to see some of the digital ones, and you're going to see what they came up with just with whatever they have at home. So this is the first one from Miguel. Miguel, you could see right away he's Filipino and proud of his culture, right? And the background, look at the background, how cool it is, the aesthetics, right? And he shared this in class that he didn't know what to do, but he really liked comics, and he thought it would be a cool background in the back. And he played with the lighting and the shading, and then he also played with the color of his name. So even as simple as it may seem, there is detail in here that's beautiful. beautiful. And Keon probably remembers that when Miguel would present his weekly projects, they were elaborate, right? He they were always so detailed and elaborate, and just like, you could see that in his work here. Yeah, it was over the top. That's right. it was it was so good. And let me show you Kevin's. Kevin is someone who I loved Kevin so much. I loved Kevin's card. It was so, so nice. And he is one of those students that would stay after to talk to me every time in class. And you could really tell that he was starting from the beginning of the courses, but he had the mindset. He really did. He had the right attitude about it. He was committing time. He was aware of where he needed to work on things more, and aware of what he was good at, and bringing in his outside activity. So he's really into music, and so he plays in a band, but he also does mechanic work, and he has a mentor who would let him do a lot of woodwork also. So he knew that he wanted to do this, but he knew he needed to go through the process of school. He was also a huge LA and Lakers fan, and this is, instead of shooting the shot and yelling Kobe, he put Kevin, which I got right away, and I thought it was super cool. And in that class, we talked often about how the growth mindset is very much like that Mamba mentality. And so that was something that he could connect to. Okay, really cool one. Yeah, yes, Owen, yes. And for those of you who don't know, at trade, it hit, I mean, it hit everyone hard, but at trade, it hit extra hard because our colors at trade are purple and gold. We're 2 or 3 blocks away from the Staples Center. So the day after a trade, yeah, oh gosh, Owen, yeah, that's rough. At trade, the day after, everyone had on Laker gear. It was the same with when Nipsey died. It really hit our campus hard because it's part of our community. Okay, let me show you another one of things that we did, things that people did, at home. So this is Jacob. His name is Jacob, but he likes to be called Jake. So and also Jacob was a person who has gone through coursework for another study and decided to do chemistry now. And he's he has that mindset where he finally found what he likes. He notices that he's now good at it, and he's following the process and doing really well, right? Going through the classes. He almost joined Physics 101 this semester, Keon, but he decided, yeah, because of calc, he's gonna take it next semester. But you'll probably see him in the materials presentations. But here's what's really cool about this one. He couldn't decide between Jacob and Jake. He's really into chemistry and doing experiments at home. Look at what he did.
Wow.
It gets better.
Can he tell you how he did it?
Yeah, I'll tell you. It turns into Jake. Yes, isn't that amazing? So he did have an ink that would react with it. And think about it, guys, we're all sciencey people. How many of you have a specific pen that you like because it's pointy, or have a specific notebook that you like because of the line or the spacing of it? Yeah. So he was really into this. And uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, specific pilot pens, rocket books. I'm really into the friction pens because you can erase the ink with just the rubber. That's a materials engineering. That's a materials function, and that's literally using the force of friction to erase the ink, right? Yeah, so he had pens. I think they were friction pens, and he realized that they would also burn off too. And so
Oh yeah, because the friction creates the heat and that probably like removes it.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. And he's just starting in his math and physics courses and engineering 101, but he's into his chemistry classes. So he knows about this stuff. He actually for Halloween blew up a pumpkin too and showed it to us in class. It was really cool. Yeah. Okay, let me show you another one that I love. This is just not that one. Boom.
Wow.
Isn't that one cool? Oh, and if you blow up your pumpkins, you got to take a video of it. Yeah. Oh, oh, the yes, yeah. You got to use that stuff. So this one is Nick. He was really into the Mandalorian, and as was I. So we always talked about it. But he did this with only three pens, like two shades of green and a black one, and he made his name really nice into this. And then he said, "This only took me 10 minutes," and I was like, "Oh, I was blown away! Like this is such artistry, you know? It's beautiful." So I like this one a lot.
It would take like more than 10 minutes to just get the part that's black.
I thought the same. But then look how he also set it up. He sent this picture, you know, like with the background of his table with all the stickers. So it just shows so much personality. And then finally, we all know Keon. If you guys know Keon's personality, this is so telling of it. Keon, you you might want to make no, Keon, it's not the worst, but you know, you get a second chance to make a new one. So this is Keon's, and if you just through personality and design of everything that he does, he always goes back to this like original stuff, simple stuff, classic stuff. And I think was it last semester that you actually did get one of these guitars? Is it a bass? Yeah, okay, we see.
No, it's a guitar. It's just a electric guitar.
Oh, electric guitar. Yeah, I don't know the details, but yeah, I think it was after you showed us this that you got it and then showed it to us in class. And then, you know, it's so cool that this, I almost feel like you put a vision out there of things that you like and things that you want. So this, what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like a vision board. So that's your assignment, guys. That's the front of your card, right? So the front of your card is to show yourself off, and you're going to have until the end of next week. So I encourage you not to do this rushed and not to do this at the last minute. Take your time with it, and maybe in between breaks of studying, while you're watching TV, you know, looking for pictures online, things like that. Now, this is the front of the assignment. The back of the assignment, the back of the assignment is where I'm hoping you can actually share some details with me, as much as you want, as little as you want, and as much as you want. But do know that the back of the cards are very confidential. I keep them in my locked office. Actually, when I went back to Trade Tech over for Engineering 101 to get the bridge material, after, you know, we've shut down in March, I went back like in November. The only thing I grabbed from my office were all my name cards from all the semesters. So that's, you know, they really do mean a lot to me. So I hope you take the time to work on them. Here's
Get the name cards.
yeah. Yeah, I have, oh, and I have so many because I make every class, every semester do this. And like I told you, for Alyssa, I have like four of hers, and she actually requested them back. Yeah, I also think it is a cute assignment. I really like just drawing and art and finding a way to be creative. Now, let me just repeat, you don't have to blow me away. You don't have to come up with something super creative. Just be you. That's all I want you to do is be you. And hopefully in the back, then you can tell me some information. So this is what the back of the card will look like. The back of the card is going to have answers to questions. You don't have to write the question. You can just write like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm about to show you the questions. Now, in asking you to share this information, I am going to answer each question for myself with you guys. So hopefully you don't feel like you're telling me everything and don't know anything about me. So here's the grand summary, but I'm going to go through details of each question. These are the 6 questions you will answer. I will make this an assignment on Canvas, so you will be able to see the questions. If you want to get started like today, perhaps just take a quick screenshot, but you will see this. You will see this assignment on Canvas. So these are the questions, right? What is your academic goal? Let's just go through it. So on the back, again, you do not need to write the question, just the number is fine. And any responses that you're comfortable with sharing with me. So let us go through it one by one. Now, the next 6 slides is going to be me talking. Please feel free to stop and ask a question or say something or interrupt me, because I don't want to just talk about myself the whole time. And I'm really hoping you can use this as a time to just, if you ever had a thought, a question about anything along the lines of someone's career, this is a good time to ask. Okay, so the first question is, what is your current academic goal? What do you want to do with the degree at Trade Tech? Do you want to transfer and get a bachelor's degree? Or are you looking to just get a certificate of some sort, or just an AA and then get an internship, or maybe switch into something else? I'm really curious as to what is your degree goal for a bachelor's, or for not a bachelor's, something before that. So here are, oh Lord, here it is in pictures, my academic degrees. So I got my bachelor's in physics at UCLA, and here I am in front of the physics and astronomy building and a bunch of my friends at graduation. That date is not correct. None of these dates are correct, so don't, don't go looking. I then got my master's in physics also at Cal State LA. And I did that through a bridge program. I actually never even expected to do a master's program. I thought I would just go straight into a doctorate. But let me tell you, after my bachelor's, I was burned out. I was so burned out. I did every research program you could think of, every extracurricular you could think of. I never slept. I also had a good time. So I was burned out. So my mentors at UCLA actually convinced me to do a bridge to doctorate program. And this was a specific bridge to doctorate program that is a traveling one. So it goes to a different school every year. And a few years before that, it was at Cal State LA. And the year that I was going to apply just happened to be at Cal State LA again. And it was called the LSAMP program, Lewis Stokes Alliance for Minority Participation. And I had done research through that program as an undergrad. So that qualified me to participate in the master's. So I had to go through several interviews for the program, not for the school and not for the department, but for the program. And so this Bridge to Doctorate program paid for my master's and also paid for my doctorate applications. And they paid for research, and they paid me to be a student. So it was blessing in disguise that I was guided in that direction, because I didn't know really if I still had it in me to go through the doctorate program, because I was just so tired. The other thing is that I kind of had an idea. Owen, that's what I'm getting at. I do not regret getting my master's. Here's why. I kind of had a faint idea that I wanted to teach at some point. I thought maybe when I'm like 60, 70, maybe going to retire, I can go back and teach. Well, I knew that the minimum degree that you needed at a college to teach is a master's, just minimum to qualify. And I thought, oh, maybe if I have 30 years of industry experience plus the master's, they'll let me teach. So I ended up getting the physics master's. Well, let me tell you, this is the reason I got hired at Trade Tech for physics. Had I not had this physics degree, I could still probably teach physics, but they'd have to do some extra paperwork to show that I meet the minimum requirements to teach that subject. If not, I would be fighting for an engineering position where there is very few, much less at all the universities, especially at the community college. There's usually one engineering position, whereas physics, there's a few more. So taking the master's, helped me kind of calm down, and I ended up applying to PhD programs. And actually, I was going to apply as a physics PhD, and I applied to 10 programs, all in physics except for one. Of the 10 programs, I got into 3. of the three, or just even of the 10 completely, the only one that was not physics was UCR, and it was in material science and engineering. And the only reason I picked this was because when it came time to apply to the PhD program for my master's, I went back to UCLA and I went back to two of my research professors that I had spent a lot of time with, and I asked them for their advice. And at UCLA, Dr. Kainer, who's famous chemistry and material scientist, he told me apply to the material science program at UCR because it's brand new and they're doing different things there because of that. And so he was right. I went to UCR to talk to them. Of the three schools I got into, I'll just tell you, was UC Merced in physics, USC in physics, and UCR in materials. And of course, being the LA native, I thought, oh, for sure I was going to go to USC. No, when I went to UCR, I was very surprised with the perks of their program. So the material science and engineering is not a department at UCR because it's brand new. It's it's actually a program. So all the professors from the material science and engineering program are the top professors from the other departments. So it was very much like a hybrid program. And they also said that if you meet the minimum requirements to graduate, you can finish in 4 years. And that was shocking to me because everywhere else said 5 to 6 years minimum. So I chose UCR. Let me see the comments. You can't go to USC if you went to UCLA. It's a law. Yeah, that, I did think of that. I thought maybe I would be my own house divided. Oh, Nate, how long did it take to do your master's and doctorate? That's a really good question. My master's was a very strict program. They wanted us to finish in 2 years. The funding was only for 2 years. And the director of the program said, you are funded for 2 years. If you finish in 1 year and 9 months, spring, right, instead of the end of summer, we will still pay you for the 2 years. And out of the 10 people in the program, I did that. I worked my ass off because I knew that I could finish by spring, but it was late nights in K-Town writing my thesis. Every week I had a schedule, and everyone else graduated at the end of summer, which is all good. You graduate, that's the point. But by this time I was a little older, you have new priorities. And so my PhD, Nate, I had the same priorities. I was older than everyone when I entered the PhD program, and I hit the ground running. All I wanted to do was graduate as fast as I could. And so I finished my PhD in 4 years because I was bribed to stay. I actually finished my research in about 3 years, and I actually finished in about 3 years, and my advisor tried many ways to keep me. And one of the ways that he kept me was by giving me an opportunity to direct a REU program, Research Experience for Undergraduates. And he let me direct it for 1 year, and it was really successful. And he kept me on for 2 years, even after I graduated. And I became a junior faculty at UCR to direct that program. And that program is how I ended up at Trade Tech. At the end of our first year, one of the students was from Trade Tech, and the Trade Tech professors came to watch his presentation, and the rest is history. I just had a discussion with them, and here I am. I came to teach materials, and I stayed. I stayed, but I'll tell you more about it later. Okay. When did we go to Thailand? Let's go there, Owen. Okay, so here comes the second question. This is just academic goals. Now the second question, do you work now or have any other responsibilities that takes away from you studying? Any responsibilities? Are you like the sole translator at home? Do you take care of your siblings, your aunt? Do you volunteer somewhere? Are you taking classes to train for for a job? Something like that. Yeah. So what is your prior science experience or activities of any sort? And so I'm going to share with you mine. Throughout school, my goal was to double dip in everything that I did. So I was looking to find work where I could also practice science and get paid for it as a student. And so that's what I looked for. And ILA, that is where I got most of my mentors. Every time I applied for a program, I was very committed to it and spent hours there. And the people that were teaching me were willing to spend time with me and talk to me. And so they became my mentors. And so here it is. So I did research in Thailand when I was an undergraduate at UCLA, and it was also because of that professor, Dr. Kainer. I had done research in his lab, and the graduate student was really helpful to me. Like she was also a great mentor, someone that I still keep in contact with now. And yes, that's Bill Nye. And so
No
they
way.
yeah. So they supported me in going to different places to research in the summer, not trying to just keep me at UCLA or keep me at Cal State LA. So the REU program, the REU program is a Thailand, is a research program abroad. Then I went on to my master's program and I applied for another REU program because I had such a good experience in the first one, and I went to Ireland. I actually got into several, and I chose Ireland because I thought I'm not going to go there like on my own, you know? So I decided to go the place that I didn't think I would go. And then throughout my schooling, I just always looked for jobs where I could do things that I liked. You know, you could always do the jobs where you just go in, do your work, and leave. That's totally fine, and sometimes that's what you need. In science, our time is just so constrained, right? We have so much to study for, so it's it's you need a double dip. So through my research programs at UCLA, Cal State LA, and UCR, all of them were for students, and all of them were paid. Through this, you have to communicate your science, and they part of them is to go to presentations and go to, you know, be a club member, do all these different things. So here's where Bill Nye comes in. At Cal State LA, I was in the Society of Physics Students. I was actually the president my last year. And one of the things we did was go to see Stephen Hawking speak. We went to go hear I don't know how to say this. we went to a we went to a thing for Stephen Hawking. Communicate. Thank you, Owen. We went to see a Stephen Hawking. I'm gonna just say talk. We went to go see his talk at Caltech, and we took the entire club, the entire Society of Physics students at Cal State LA, undergrads and grad students. We went and stood at the line. The line wrapped around the whole campus. Someone went to In-N-Out while we were waiting. We got food. And as we're entering the auditorium, we see Bill Nye. So these were some of the girls from the Society of Physics students also. I think she was a master's student, the only other master's students with me, and I think they were undergrads too, in astronomy. Yeah, so we went. Also, while you're, yeah, you can still love the. Oh, you still love them. Okay. So part of these presentations you go give, sometimes at the conferences they have exhibit halls where you can talk to industry and schools and things like that. And at one of them there was a caricature, and this was during a time that I was really deep into my PhD research and just like turning out data like crazy. So I asked him to draw me at the probe station that I would use to make electrical measurements, and so that's what he did. During undergrad, you know, there are times when you cannot get a science job or you cannot work a science job and you just need money, and that's where Jamba Juice comes in. And so I did work at Jamba Juice. I had all the smoothies memorized, and I made flashcards. It was funny. Let's see, this was in Amsterdam. While I went to Ireland, every weekend I would go somewhere in Europe to like visit. And I am so thankful for that opportunity because I got to see the world because of the Ireland research, right? Yeah, Jamba Juice is the sugar daddy for STEM students, Kian. It was so funny too because that Jamba Juice tried to hire like really good students, really good students. I mean, the students were going to like Berkeley and University of Pennsylvania, and in the summertime everyone would just go work there. But it was easy because we all had this like logical flow of our thinking of getting things done. Oh, and I'm surprised I didn't work at Starbucks either. I was always just trying to look for ways to reduce time, right? Like on campus, things like that. The Jamba Juice one was like a summer end of undergrad summer thing. Okay, let me take you guys to question 3. So after you finish your bachelor's degree, and again, we're all in different stages here. I think some of you even have your bachelor's degree already. What is your next step? What do you want to do in the 3 to 5 years after your bachelor's degree? And so for me, I knew I wanted to go to grad school. And because I had traveled a lot, I knew that I liked LA and I wanted to be in SoCal. So for me, my goal was to do a doctorate program, and again, my goal wasn't a master's, but the master's came along the way. And this led me to for sure wanting to do a doctorate program in California. And so what I learned in this process was that California, like New York and maybe Illinois, some of the hardest schools to get into. So if you want to go there, you need to identify that right away and work towards their admissions, right? So I knew I wanted to be in California. I knew I needed to be incredibly competitive to get into those schools. I mean, I'm telling you, I applied to 10 and got into 3. So it is a numbers game too. Is that match there with the university? I actually didn't match well with the research being done at USC at the time. The materials program was very old school materials, like metallurgical science, which was all the study of metals. And I was more interested in like electronics and optics and lasers and semiconductors. So that was much better at UCR. Oh, my undergrad GPA, and I think my overall was like a 3.1, something like that. But my physics one, you guys heard, was not so great. It was like a 2.9 or something. So the master's actually ended up helping my GPA out. And my master's GPA was nearly perfect. It was like a 3.89, 3.9, something like that. And that shows the admissions people that you've changed, right? And that you're committed to this 2-year program. And with the right support, you can be successful. And it helped get me into my doctorate program. So I very much knew I wanted to be in the Southern California area for a doctorate. And I thought again I would be at USC, and turns out here I am at UCR. And best decision I've ever made to go to UCR. I was challenged beyond what I ever thought I could do. Every day I thought, there's no way I'm going to do this. There's no way. I don't even know where to start. And the next day I always found a way. So yeah. And a lot of it, I have to tell you, is because of this guy right here. This is my PhD advisor, Ludwig Bartels. He's native German, workaholic micromanager. And I had to learn how to work with him. And people have different experiences working with him. I would do it again because I was pushed to my limits. I really was. And I don't think now anything I do, I think I have no problem. I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out. It just changed my outlook. And it's because of that lab and because of his, I don't know if I want to call it mentorship, but yes, his mentorship. It was very intense. Oh yeah, Keon, that's great. Whenever you're stuck with a problem, you think of the experience at UCR. Me too. I'm telling you, it's so funny right now at Trade Tech. Whenever we have projects going on all the time behind the scene, and I'm always like, okay, we need to write a grant. It's due tomorrow. Okay, we'll just stay up all night and finish it. Okay, it's no problem. I can get it done. I have not faced anything harder, and now I know that I can do a lot more than what I think I can do because of this program and because of working with him. So I also learned really cool things. I learned how to wire. I learned how to, create circuits and engines. I learned how to fix any electronic that comes my way. I fix it myself. I open it up, get some new wires, some new anything I need. I can do it. Okay, so that's question 3. No, yeah, my YouTube channel. What would I call it? I don't know. Okay, question 3. Now that you've told me your academic goal, you've told me any science experience you have, and you told me what you want to do after your bachelor's, 3 to 5 years. Tell me, what is your dream career? No limitations. Include the location. No limitations whatsoever. Imagine you didn't have to think about family or think about finances or anything like that. Oh, that's a good name. That's a good name, Randy. um, you want me to get a lot of hits, huh? And yeah. So think about your dream career. What would it be? And it's very, very important to include the location. Um, Very important to include the location, because if you want this dream career, you have to make sure it makes sense. If you want to work at SpaceX, you need to know which location of SpaceX do you want to be in. Are you going to like live in the Hawthorne area or in the South Bay? Or are you going to go to a different location, right? Like, where do you want to be and where are the locations? NASA only has so many labs out there. Yeah, a spreadsheet would be really helpful for this stuff. So because I did my PhD in SoCal, I knew I wanted to stay in Southern California to live. But when I finally decided I wanted to teach, um, I wanted to teach, I thought I wanted to be at a small school like Pepperdine or LMU, because I thought I could do research, which I loved and I was good at, and I could teach. I thought, oh, this is great. Well, my part-time experience teaching took me there. It took me to Pepperdine for a year. It took me to La Sierra University, which is like the Pepperdine but in Riverside, and it took me to Trey Tech. And after just 4 weeks, 4 weeks into the semester, guys, I knew that I wanted to be at the LA Community College District, hands down. I would drive to Pepperdine every morning, love the view, love the ride, love PCH and all of that. And as soon as class would end, I'd run to Trade Tech and stay there all day. I loved it. I loved talking to everyone. I loved the classes. I loved how supportive the department was of me. So this is while I was still part-time at Trade Tech, and this is actually our classroom. If we would be at Trade Tech, you all would be sitting at these tables. And this is our classroom, and this is my materials of engineering class. It started with a class of like 9 students, and that's the class that they hired me to do. And by the second or third semester, yeah, I turned the class into a seminar class where the students have to come up with a product and sell it and pitch it based on the materials properties. And it turned into a whole, departmental huge presentation that I hope you all join the presentation next semester. And this is still while I was part-time. So here you see me, you see Dr. Shields, you see Dr. Diaz in the back, Dr. Navarro in the back, Dr. Harper in the back. A lot of support from the department, and everyone would invite their students. So these are all current students that were in the class, and past and present students, and students that weren't even enrolled. This student right here, Vladimir, just sent me an email this morning. He did this presentation. He was incredibly shy, and he started his email to me this morning. I'm still shy, but he's a good student, transferred to UCLA for engineering. And I don't know, I think he should be done. I think he just emailed me, and I'm hoping that's why he emailed me, that he's about to finish and maybe looking to see what else to do. But he mentioned in the email this presentation. So cool things that the department lets you do. So again, I knew pretty quickly that I wanted to be at Trade Tech. So, or at the LA Community College District. And this is my first interview at Trade Tech. I was interviewing everywhere, including at Pepperdine, and I actually did really well at Pepperdine, and I had to turn down their offer. But at Pepperdine, I was supported by the people, but it wasn't the experience. It wasn't the exact experience I thought it was going to be. So this is my first interview at Trade Tech. You go through like 3 to 5 interviews depending on the school. that day I also had an interview at Mission College. So that day I drove from Trade Tech all the way to Mission, and I actually got hired at Mission too. But I chose Trade Tech. Um, when you drive to Mission, the radio stops working. That's not okay. So I was like, no, this isn't for me. Anyway, so I got hired at Trade Tech, and the first summer I was there, they sent me to Berkeley to go work with a faculty in engineering there to help, bring in research stuff into our classroom. And so some of the cool assignments you see in Physics 101, Engineering 101, and materials are a direct result of the time I spent as a visiting faculty at Berkeley. And so that's what the ID there is there for. So I had to move there for the summer. I lived in a studio like 3 blocks away, and I loved being there. But after I was done in the lab for the day, I would normally spend the rest of my time in like Oakland or San Francisco. But pretty cool. Okay, so question number 5. Now that we know dream career and location, tell me, what do you like to do outside of class, and what do you like to eat? Right. So here's the question: what do you like to do for fun and your favorite snack? I'm into sports. I love sports. I love music. That's how I spend my time. At Trade Tech, I was, I was famous for changing. Like I'd be in class, and the next minute I would change into some gear and off to the game I was going. Especially because we have the train so close to us. So yeah, I'm a LA person. Now here, so you'll see I like going to the Laker games, the Dodger games. This is my little sister. Um, Not so little anymore, but yeah, that's my little sister. This is one of my best friends who also went to the PhD at UCR with a different professor. She's now an engineer at Keysight in Santa Clara up north, also doing really well up there. And I'm an LAFC fan, but one of my best friends is a season ticket holder to the Galaxy. So I support her. I support her and her only. Yeah. So the other thing that I love to do is travel. Travel for me was at the heart of like everything I did in science too, because I wanted to just hear about people's experiences. So these are all the places I've been to, almost in chronological order, but the ones in purple I got to visit directly because of school, and pretty much school paid for it. Everything in purple is because of school, and school paid for it. So yes, I yeah, any way I could get school to help me do things, I'm into it. Daniela, have you picked up some of the languages? No, I haven't. I certainly am very I'm not surprised by things, because I just always expect things to be, I expect things to be representative of that location, so I'm not surprised when I see different things or hear different languages or hear different accents and things like that. In Thailand, they did make us go to like some cultural courses, and I learned words. Like I learned words like hello, hi, how do I get here, where's the bathroom. I learned things like that, but I could remember a little bit there. In Ireland, the English was intense. The accents were like, oh my gosh, depending on what part of Ireland you were in, it was so hard to understand, especially when they spoke really fast. Some interesting things in Costa Rica, when I would speak in Spanish, they could right away tell that I was from Guatemala, which I thought was really cool, because in LA, that's not usually the experience, right? Um, let's see, where else? In Morocco, the Spanish got you further than English, because it's just a ferry ride away from Spain. I went to Marrakesh, and in the markets you would hear people speaking Spanish more so than English. So that was interesting too. Let me see, where else. Um, I don't know. It was all good times. Okay, let me see. Okay, we're almost at the last question, but we are pretty much near the end here. Let me see. Okay, Keon says 85 degrees is my weakness. Like 6 pastries. Yo, Keon, that's a lot. My favorite is the chocolate chip bowl, and also I was known for bringing this to class a lot too. Oh, Apple Translation's really good. Great. Which place has the best food? Oh, Saja, that's a good question. Maybe I can tell you the good things. In Europe, the bread, the butter, and the meat were really good. Bread, butter, meat. Europe is all about like sandwiches. So bread, butter, meat was amazing. Um, Costa Rica had some of the biggest avocados I've ever seen. They even have a different name for them, right? Biggest avocados. Guys, in Peru, I had the most amazing ceviche I've ever had. The most delicious ceviche ever. And then Peru's very famous for their potatoes, having very like 16 different kinds. So there that was really good. St. Lucia had delicious hot sauces, like hot peppers that they made, the banana pepper. That was amazing. The food of my family's house was the best food I ate in all of Guatemala. I swear, like we, I think they packed my suitcase with like all kinds of food from home. So that was delicious. Scotland, I got to eat at a Michelin starred restaurant, and that was an experience and really cool. I got to try some different places there. I actually went with my best friend Gail. Yeah, so she picked a lot of those places and it was good. Let me see, I think all of those were good. Cuba was really good for just the vibes, like out on the street having a coffee, a little bread sandwich. Yeah. Oh, Italy. Oh my gosh, the food in Italy. I went to Italy for about 3 weeks, and one of the weeks I spent it with one of our friends that I had met in Thailand, who was Italian, and he lived in Italy, and he took us to. He was near the area of Milan, but not Milan, like a small town, and he took us to like a few blocks away from where he claims that they actually created ravioli, and we had ravioli, and it was amazing. It tasted completely different, just so fresh. And I also had beef tartare for the first time there, which is raw, like with truffle oil, but it was good. I was very, very happy. Yeah, so all of this is good. Okay, we're almost at the end. um, Almost at the end and almost ready. Hold on, give me 10 minutes. Our special guest is almost here. Okay, last question. So now you've told me everything academically, what you like to do for fun. Tell me then, where is home, and whatever the word home means to you. Bafar, I gotta stop. Bafar is asking if I've ever had Persian food. Well, one of my best friends, this girl here, is half Persian, half Mexican, and I have Persian food at her house all the time, and it is fantastic. Like the seasoning, the slowness of cooking, the meats. Oh, it's delicious, delicious. So yes, Bafar, I love. It might be a little biased, I agree, but delicious food. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so tell me, where is home, whatever home means to you, and usually at Trade Tech, everyone says I'm from South Central. Tell me a little more because tell me like where are you from, and what is your homeschool? Because now on Zoom, you're all from different places. So I am born and raised in LA. My mom came pregnant with me from Guatemala, and I was born in the US. And the last letter in my first name, Velvet, is an H, and it's silent H because it's actually Spanish. And my dad thought that one, he wanted to give me something kind of an American name, and Velvet comes from the movie National Velvet with Elizabeth Taylor, but Elizabeth Taylor is not named Velvet. The horse is named Velvet. So I like to say I'm named after the National Velvet movie, which is correct. And then my dad wanted to make the name different. So he added an H again, which is silent in Spanish. So in Spanish, my name is pronounced Velvet. And in English, my name is pronounced Velvet. Yeah, thanks, Dad. Yeah, Nate. Thank you. I love my name. I plan to name, huh?
At least it's not Seabiscuit.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I plan to name my kids Velvet too, so I'm all for it. Yeah, so that's my story. My parents came and we lived originally in the Pico Union Koreatown area, and then they moved a little bit further away, just a little bit, like to the Crenshaw area, like off of Adams. So yes, a Velvet Junior. That's right. Um, so I actually grew up mostly down the street from Trade Tech. I lived off of Adams and like the La Brea Crenshaw area, and that's where I grew up. I went to school there, and then we eventually moved to Gardena, and so I consider home to be LA and Gardena. And then when I went to PhD, I moved to Riverside for 4 years. But the first 2 years I was in Riverside, I hated it. Like clockwork. Friday would come, I would drive back to LA. Monday morning would come, and I would drive back to Riverside. But when I got really serious about finishing my PhD, I ended up starting to stay the weekends in Riverside, and I ended up liking it. So after I graduated, I actually lived for 2 more years after I finished. I stayed in Riverside because I loved it. I had a huge gym community there. And it was I don't know, it was peaceful for me. But I eventually moved back to LA. And so now I consider Riverside, downtown LA, not not Riverside so much. I don't go out there that much anymore unless I'm visiting someone. My favorite coffee was out there too, Augie's, if anyone knows, but it closed because of the pandemic. So now I'm a Phil's girl. Or if you're in the South Bay, Offset, that's where you want to go. Yeah, so downtown LA and Gardena are my home. My mom is still in Gardena, so I'm there almost every day. Almost every day when that lady needs me, I go, which is all the time. And of course, my homeschool is Trade Tech. I am so proud of Trade Tech and everything that we do there. Yeah, I believe really strongly in the programs at Trade. I see everyone in the chat. Yes, at Phil's, my favorite drink, when what is it, the hazelnut one, the filtered soul. When I can get something flavorful, I go with that. But when I can't, because I usually have to go with just a straight coffee drink, anything that's maybe a little bit floral, like I think it's called Julie's something. Yeah. Oh yeah, their cookies, their food menu is. Oh, okay. Thank you, Saja. I love their food there too. Julie's Ultimate. Yeah, that's right. Julie's Ultimate. I like that one a lot. Yeah. So guys, try your coffees. Okay, everyone who's still in the room, pay attention. Here it comes. The secret of all time. Oh, oatmeal cookies, the name of the coffee. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it. Okay, here it comes, the biggest secret of all time. So for me, where it all started, I've told you about, my bachelor's at UCLA, my master's at Cal State LA, and my PhD at UCR, going to Thailand and to Ireland and to Berkeley and all over the world for science and getting to do these cool things. But I am like you guys. I'm a transfer student. And I originally started at the LA Community Colleges. And I, like you guys, bounced around the LA Community College District to take any and every class I needed to. So I started taking classes at Harbor, Southwest, Trade Tech, and Mission. So I think this is why I'm very, very, very committed to the programs at Trade Tech and teaching science to everyone. So
The homeschool you transferred from, that you graduated from?
Um, I think it ended up being Harbor, and here's why. I lived closer to El Camino, and I did not have a good experience with the counselors there at all. But at the same time, my mom was trying to take classes online at a college, and she had a good experience with a counselor at Southwest. So I went to see her. And then she was like, "Oh, I'm moving to Harbor." And I was like, "Okay, then I'll move to Harbor too." But Harbor was not the closest one to me at all. I actually knew no one at Harbor, so I really thought of it as a fresh start. I really thought of it as somewhere where, like, I'm not going to be running into friends all the time. I, can really go deep into my studies. So I think it was from Harbor, but I took a lot of my GE classes, and my last few classes I took at Southwestern Trade. And at the time I was really scared to drive. So I would only drive in straight lines down the 110 to the north, right, to downtown, and south the 110 to Harvard. So that was part of it. For me, going to ELAC was like not an option. I was like, no way, I'm gonna have to go all these different directions. So I was really trying to stay along the straight line of the 110. The other thing is that admission at the time, they were at the time of admission, they were doing online classes that were called ITV. So you would do like video sessions and you would take the class exam on the weekend. So I took them online through Mission, but I would go on the weekend all the way to Mission. And it was such a trip out there. I think I asked my mom to drive me. So that's my biggest secret I've been keeping all semester long with you guys, is that I came from the exact same place and sat in the exact same classes as you guys are sitting in now. I took physics 37, 38, 39. I took math 265 all the way through linear and differentials. I did not have an opportunity to take one engineering class because at the time, almost 20 years ago, there were no engineering classes, like any. And so I chose the physics major not because I wanted to do physics, but because I thought I'd have the best opportunity given the classes I was completing to get into that major. I actually wanted to be a mechanical or aerospace engineering major, and I couldn't decide. And because I couldn't decide, the internship I had at the time, the manager told me, consider doing physics. And so we looked up the job requirements, and lo and behold, every engineering position also asked for either that specific engineering degree or a physics degree, because physics covers the foundations. And so I did physics and I had no idea what I was getting into. And man, was it hard. But it's my friends remind me till this day at UCLA, there wasn't a quarter that went by that I thought I wasn't going to graduate. Every quarter I thought I wasn't going to graduate, but every quarter I got closer and I got better. And my last year ended up being like my best grades, above a 3.0 in physics. So it was good. But yeah, very unexpected, but it all happened. Okay, so this is the whole story. So the back of your card should look something like this, and the front of your card should look something like this, right? Or I'm sorry, the back of the card should look like this, and the back should look the other way. Thank you, Saja. And so I'll post this online, and you'll have the whole week to work on this. But again, I really encourage you to take this not as an assignment to just complete and get the points, but to think about your future and what is it that's really driving you to do this. You want to know that because times get tough and you gotta find your motivation to continue. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing just for a second. Daniela says, should the back be the size of a flashcard or a full page? A full page is okay. This is one of the perks of Zoom. You can do any kind of restrictions. There's no restrictions. You can do anything you want. Ultimately, you will submit it as a PDF. So if you have a digital version, the front and back is equivalent to 2 pages, right? Yeah. Kind of sucks that you won't have a paper copy. It does, but I have a copy. I have the copy. It does kind of suck, Owen, because I love my stack of cards. I love seeing that. Okay, so I can answer any and all questions that are remaining. I will say that this is the official part where now you have the assignment for next week. And what I wanted to talk about now is your courses and how you should do all of your courses for sciences. And before I ask you, how much of a break do we need, or if we need one, because I'm hoping this is just like a casual conversation for you guys. I just want to give you a sneak peek into what I'd like to show you for the next few minutes. And that's really going into the courses that you should take, and specifically, how do you meet the courses at another college with the courses that we have at the LA Community College District. And so I'll go back to the screen in a second, but I created this chart for anyone pretty much. And I'd like to go through it with you guys. So you guys tell me, should we take a break or keep going? It's supposed to be very casual. Okay, I'm glad some people don't need a break. Okay, and I see some hands up. So, okay, I am going to bring our special guest in who I think might be able to talk about all of this and give me a, a little bit of a breather. Let me just okay, let me see if our guest is ready. Should be joining us any minute. But here's where I'll start with this. So when you transfer, you want to be a complete candidate. And if you start going to visit, hey, who put a smile on there? If you start going to visit with counselors from these universities, you're going to find that they're all going to tell you that you want to be as complete of a candidate as possible, which means you want to finish your major courses. And for all of us in sciences, our major courses come in one path. You got to get through math and physics or chemistry. You got to get through those to get through your major courses. Even some computer science courses have some requirements with math, right? Like
Yeah, it's all math.
what?
For computer science, you have to complete the requirements for math at the general degree, like the associate of math. That's
Yeah.
what computer science is, plus all the computer science.
Yeah. Yeah, so you have a priority. So in sciences, in the STEM courses, you want to complete your major courses first, right? Your major courses, and then you want to complete the courses that are specific to your major. And these are all the engineering courses available at Trade Tech, which are also all the engineering courses that you need to transfer. The ones in bold are the ones that most engineering majors need, but depending on your specific major, this will change, right? And this will also change depending on your specific science major. For example, if you're chem or bio, you might have more chem, maybe less math, right? And maybe more bio. So this can change for you. And I have this as an Excel sheet. This was actually my plan that I made for myself for my master's program, because I told you guys I finished early. So I made this exact plan and I literally just changed it to fit your needs. So this is your priority. Major classes that you need specific to your major. So required, major, and then the IGETC. And what I wanted to show you is what are those specific IGETC classes that you need as a STEM major. So let me click out for a second to show you this, and then I'll also introduce our special guest. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna show you guys exactly when any one of you ask us, what is the next course that I need? We always go to our beyond assist. You definitely want to go to assist, but you also want to go to just you want to do a quick Google search. So I'm going to take you through the whole process of the Google search. Oh God, I hope it's the right screen. Okay, this is the right screen. Okay, so they tell all of you that you want to do IGETC, but for the STEM majors, you have a high unit requirement that you have to meet and a lot of courses. So here, you have to be a little bit more picky with your time and also look at the specific liberal arts courses that you need. So I like to type in STEM. There it is. Okay, and so the very first thing, I typed in STEM IGETC, you click on this link here, IGETC for UC admissions, and you're going to see that there's going to be a very specific case for the sciences where you don't have to go through the whole IGETC requirement. You click down here for IGETC for STEM, and now you have different courses that you need to take. Go to the 7-course pattern, and this is what you want to complete. Your 2 courses in English 101 and 102, your one course in math, we have several, and 4 courses from at least the 2 subjects. Let me remind you, you already have a physical or a biological science. So you're really looking to complete 3 courses in these 2 subjects. And so this is the electives that you want to take. This, in addition to assist, is what you want to complete. This will help you out with the amount of courses that you'll have to take. Okay, so before we go on, I'm going to bring the presentation back on, but I also want to introduce to you all our engineering professor at LATTC, Dr. Navarro. Dr. Navarro, hello.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Is it still morning? Yes, it's still morning. How are we doing?
Hello, everyone in the chat.
Hola.
Hello, Daniela and Ayla.
Today I'm repping Casa LA.
Oh, he's a golden eagle today. And Keon says hello again. You met Keon in Engineering 101 last semester, and I think you might see him in statics pretty soon too.
Oh, cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, so everyone, this is Dr. Navarro. He's our engineering instructor at LATTC, and we're very lucky at LATTC that we have we have a specific instructor just for engineering courses. Not all the campuses have that. And so what he's done in the last like 6 years is brought in all these higher level engineering courses for you to be a completed candidate. I teach a few of them just in support of the program. And then a lot of you that are taking physics will follow into his courses. So the presentation that I was showing you was actually originally created by Dr. Navarro. So I'm going to bring that back up, and maybe you can walk us through Cal State LA and then tell us a little bit about you too.
Sure. I thought I was going to come here to talk about stocks, buying GameStop and fine.
And a little bit, man.
Some what is that? I was about to buy some AMC. You know, I have AMC little tickets for the movie theaters. I can't go, but I went to Costco, bought a little packet. Anyways, I guess we'll talk about engineering.
Yeah. You're totally right. Robinhood, and what was the other one that stopped?
Ameritrade, I think, too.
Yeah, they stopped. But also that's something good to know, guys, that Dr. Navarro is so like well versed with knowledge with finances and stocks too. So something we bring into some engineering courses too.
To Owen's comments, you'd be a billionaire right now, but then what would you do, right? I think engineering is one of those paths that kind of it's something that you should pursue because it's like a lifelong calling. And I've been using the word Mamba mentality, and you're gonna see why. I don't know if you guys are probably are aware of it. I've heard of it. Obviously, it's Kobe inspired. Where's my visual book too? You going for yours, Dr. Klee? I don't know if you guys can see me.
Wait, I'm coming back. I finally unpacked. There it is. Look, it's there's no coincidence here, right? Yeah.
So and what I like is that yeah, and he has some awesome videos, and I can share this with you with your class. There's a cool video where he gets interviewed and he kind of talks about the 5 pillars. But before I go into like the courses, I'm not sure how much time I have, but I just want to again introduce myself. Thank you for the great introduction, and good to see some of you here that recognize me. And all of a sudden you bring up stocks and everyone gets excited. So my name is Professor Artemio Navarro, and I've been at LATTC about going on 8 years now. And my background is I have a mechanical engineering bachelor's degree from UC Berkeley. And then I had the opportunity to go to UCLA, get my master's, also mechanical engineering, and then continue because there was opportunities for underrepresented students to continue their education. And I got my PhD in also mechanical engineering. Part of the reason why I went to UC Berkeley was because I wanted to kind of get that independence and be on my own, learn things. Is kind of just actually I did a to-do list, where should I go? on my to-do list was like, doing my own laundry, right? Cooking for myself and all that. So I was young, transferring out. So then I went back to UCLA and then got my PhD, and then, had an opportunity. Where do I see myself, right? How can I have the most impact? But because if you guys, regardless of what field you pursue, you want to dedicate your life to helping others and helping society, right? And at the core, that's what a lot of the STEM majors do. And at the core, that's what engineers do, right? They create products, they make things better to improve society. And so the way we kind of structure our courses, especially intro to engineering, if you haven't taken that, well, if you want to start engineering like society and making things better, why don't you start within, right? Hence why I reference mama mentality. What do you need to do as a person to make yourself a little bit better every single day, and something that you aspire to and achieve, and be challenged, right? Because you'll see as a student, there's always going to be shortcuts, right? Even if you exercise something, you might want to cut across the corner. And as a student, you're going to learn that there's easy ways to shortcut. And in my past, I've seen students cheat, whatever, et cetera. But all you're really doing is you're not giving yourself the opportunities to achieve what you're capable of, right? My goal here is to really help you, right? Help you provide a pathway to engineering from the community college route. And one thing you'll learn is that, well, engineering is challenging, which is a great thing. When it comes to challenges, you should learn to embrace them, because it's going to make you better. And that's part of that mama mentality. And so what do you need to do to become an engineer? First, you got to learn about engineering, but the most important thing is take the right courses. And one of the common issues that I found students do is that, they in terms of like the courses they take, they just kind of focus on their generals. And then that kind of delays them in what courses they need to take. The great thing is you guys are already taking Physics 101, which implies you're either taking or have taken Calc 1. That continues, right? So you have to continue your math, continue your physics, and then eventually you're going to have to take engineering courses. So what happens is, and if you look at this, an example, this is a 4-year ed plan for Cal State LA, because Cal State LA is one of our main schools where students apply, and mechanical engineering is one of the more common majors. But regardless, the core of engineering is very similar. The issue is that what I find is that when you transfer, they tell you, oh, take all your math, physics, and then a chemistry class. If you're doing UC, you need a chemistry 102. And then you have those SciGetCs, what they call them, as Dr. Key presented. So notice that you don't really pack your classes at the beginning with all generals, right? What they tell you is you sprinkle them in throughout your whole, ideally 4-year plan. On average, it takes a little bit longer, 4.5 to 5. It took me about 4.5 years. I was going every semester. It's just how how typically engineering is. It's a higher unit major. But what they really tell you to do is start taking all your core classes. So whether you're at Valley, you're at ELAC or trade, or any community college, you should be taking your classes in math and physics, right? Because all those schools offer them. So what we did is, if you look at all those red check marks, those courses, now again, this is specific to mechanical engineering, Cal State LA, but I recommend that you go on Assist and look at the agreements. And so most students, if you knock these out, then they transfer. So technically, as much as you have, you're not necessarily required a degree to transfer to engineering program. They don't tell you, oh, you must have an engineering degree. It's not fair, because really, yes, these are all the courses in engineering, but which ones are engineering besides I think we have the intro to engineering. So see where it says block A2? Intro to engineering actually covers that as part of a lifelong learning, which is area E at Cal State LA. So you can actually knock that out. So most students transfer, right, and to engineering programs, but the problem is, look at all the other green boxes, right? All the other green boxes are the other engineering courses you should take. There is one on top, Math 2550, depending on what school, but essentially that's linear algebra. So that's Math 270. So normally if you take it here, you'll be able to count that class. Not all schools want that. It depends. So just LATTC offer a CAT course. Yes, the course that we offer is EDD Tech 101. it's introduction to computer design and drafting and design. There, you get skills of learning how to use AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and sometimes depending on right now, lately we've been using Fusion 360 because it's more accessible and it's free. Normally we have SolidWorks on campus. So if you look at, so this is what it is, regardless of what school, you should be able to take all the courses that have a check mark. What we're trying to do at Trade is that, look, then when I came here, I wanted to provide an opportunity for students to really knock out as many classes as they can while they're here, because what are the benefits of the community college? Smaller classes, you engage more with your professors, it's cheaper, right? And then it depends on your plan. Some of you may be working, et cetera, et cetera. So what we try to do is package these degrees, and they're a little bit higher unit, right? You're gonna hear that, because see the rest of the check marks, the red check marks, we offer those courses as part of this degree, so that you can knock out as much as you can, and you can start your junior courses. Now, if you transfer without that, you're still a junior student, right? Your junior standing, but you still have to take a lot of the courses like statics and strength and materials. And I'm also here to kind of promote that statics course, because statics is a course that you need in order to take a lot of the other courses, including strength and materials, dynamics, and I think there was some other one, and then all the upper divs. So that's one of the courses that we actually offer in spring, and I can share, I'll post in the chat that course info. And the other one is materials of engineering with Dr. Cleese, ME 2070. But here's my point, that what we're trying to do is, look, we're trying to be accommodating to students, in that if you want to decide just do all your math, physics, and generals, and you want to transfer without getting any degree, you can do that, it's fine. What I find students do is that they take advantage of the community college, and they knock out all these courses, and so that they're prepared for an engineering degree. And here's a cool thing about this, is that as you're pursuing this associates in engineering, specifically mechanical, electrical, or civil, you can actually get your math AST, and you can actually get your physics AST, because it's a lot of the classes are so common, right? So if you look at math here, Calc 1, 2, 3, but for engineers, you need linear and differentials. And then, yeah, right. So you can actually choose those here. But here's the thing, right? Where for these courses, you can also make up the rest of the units with the generals, right? To kind of complete that. And then physics is kind of attached from math, meaning you can just take, not only do you do Calc 1, 2, 3, right? Which is part of the program, but then you can also do physics 101, 102, 103. But that's really like from here, like you continue, right? You start taking the engineering courses if that's the path that you'd like to do. I think we had, what was the other one? I'll pause here because normally I do get a lot of questions. So to kind of recap, what we did at Trade Tech in terms of these AS degrees, you're going to see they're higher unit majors, right? But what we're trying to do is create some program that will kind of allow you to be versatile in where you go to get the good foundation. The thing is, every department of every school is different, meaning civil engineering at Cal State Long Beach could be different from civil engineering at CSUN, UCLA civil engineering, Cal State LA civil engineering. But on the most part, it's the same, similar courses. There may be one or two courses that deviate. So what I'm trying to do is don't put all your eggs in one basket, meaning don't apply only for one school and that's it, right? You want to apply to multiple schools, UCs, Cal States, CSUs, and give yourself those options to see which one you'd like to go. Can you get both if you have all the courses for both? Yeah, I think so. Now,
like the math is most of the physics, and so like if you have all of the math and the physics, when you graduate, like do they give you both?
I believe so. You should be able to. Now, here's the thing, and a little bit of background of these AST degrees. Okay, so the associates for transfer degree, what it is it's an agreement between community colleges and Cal States that if a student completes these core classes, right, plus any other courses using IGETC to get to 60, you will be guaranteed admission to a program in that degree right, in a Cal State. And you're guaranteed to finish in another 60 units. Does that make sense? If you're doing math AST, well, you're guaranteed admission to a math program and get the perks of that, right? And this is between agreement between Cal States. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that's my understanding. Like I've seen some students that apply to engineering programs, but they're like, oh, but I have a math AST, but they're applying to engineering programs.
Yeah, so what Kimberly Wicker, our counselor, did was go to the Cal State, specifically Counselor LA, and talk to them that we don't have those engineering degrees just yet. And so the idea is that if you are at a campus that does not have an engineering degree, they will apply the physics AST or the math AST to a closely related major, and that is for engineering. And that is direct from the Cal State counselors.
Okay, so yeah, that's great information.
So is that similar for like computer science and engineering?
So, but I don't know for sure.
That one, yeah, when it comes to very specific like programs like that, that's when you default to assist. And you should still go to assist regardless, and kind of talk to your counselors and also talk to us, myself or Dr. Klee, because what happens is on assist, like there's some articulations that haven't been completed, and a class like strength of materials, for example, our class 241 strength of materials, it's called mechanics of deformable bodies somewhere else, right? So the verbiage is different, but if you didn't know, and you didn't know, you could count that, right? So that's one thing you gotta have to double check. But again, that's why we kind of package these degrees to kind of give you an idea that, okay, eventually it's gonna count. Let me see.
Did you want to show the 3 degrees that should be available soon?
Yeah, so they should be available on the catalog. We barely got them approved. Took a little bit of time. So there's some the main degrees, or there's like 3 paths. We didn't focus on we're still working on the computer science path and computer engineering. But the main ones are the Associates of Mechanical, Aerospace, and Manufacturing Engineering. These are typically the courses that you would take. That one, yeah. So you have the graphics course, you have MATLAB programming. One thing you'll learn is that, you know, when you look at your assist, for mechanical engineering, especially civil, they say, oh, you need a programming class. And so what they say is, oh, take C++, right? But what they really recommend, if you look at their programs, they really recommend MATLAB programming. But not all schools offer it, right? So that's why they say just do C++ or C#. So we offer MATLAB, and that's actually, I'm getting a lot of interested students that want to take it over the summer, but I offer it every fall. And then, yeah, there's statics, there's Dr. Klee's materials class, there's a circuits, and then dynamics, depending on where you go. Dynamics is, it counts as Cal State LA. I'm getting Cal State LA students that are taking our dynamics courses. UCLA is lower div, but then there's some schools like Cal State Long Beach where it's upper div. So it's like, it's not a one size fits all, right? So, and then you have strength of materials, 241. And then for the electrical engineering, it's mostly more on the programming side. The recommended courses for this degree, now these are specific. This is Chemistry 101. You have the MATLAB programming, statics, the materials, circuits, and a programming class. And to be honest, I recommend that the more programming you do, the more the beneficial it'll be to your career, because it seems like, at least for electrical or computer science, it's leaning towards more software. And at least at our school, it's 739 and 741.
Those that's what the question is about. Those codes have changed now.
Oh, yes, it should be CS now, right? So that's what I have to update these slides, but on catalog it did change.
And so like, but those ones still exist. So like when you go to search on PeopleSoft, you find, like, if you're looking for those, because some of the assist sites only say those, and so you can't find it. And that's like one of my questions was last semester, does CS 113 count as co-info 739? Because they told me to default to assist, but on assist it doesn't have it.
It should. And so it should update, because yes, I think what happened was all the campuses started to align themselves to the CS. So you should prove it. Now, what's going to happen is when you do like the degree audit, you're going to they should know, but if it doesn't, then you have to kind of manually go through that process. But that's why you should talk to your counselor for that. And let's see, in terms of articulation, I mean, worst case backup is that you save your syllabus, right? And then when if you transfer, you'll accept it. I mean, I have students, right? This is how deep, like if that went to Cal State LA, no, Cal State Long Beach for civil engineering, they don't accept linear and differentials, which is weird, right? But then they took the syllabus to the chair. Their chair is like, hey, I took it, and I even took some engineering courses. Why don't you accept it? I'm like, okay, cool. And that was it, right? So just be careful. It's like not all set in stone, and it's not all clear. But anything's possible. Let's see. Let me make sure I answer all the questions. So the thing is, for AST degrees, kind of as associate degrees for like jobs, they're transfer degrees. Some jobs require maybe some associates if you have an engineering or math, some type of level associates for like a technician level, possibly. That is so. But when it comes to an engineering degree, like to get an engineering job, you need the bachelor's, at least a bachelor's. But you can do some type of technician level jobs that require some associates. And if you have an engineering one or a STEM one, they may be able to help you to get that. Visual Basic appears. Could you transfer it? It depends on your school. So hold on, let me make sure. So let me go way back up.
I got the other ones. You're current.
C++. So MATLAB 2. So Isla, that one.
See.
Oh, you got that one. Where am I? Oh, okay, good. Sorry, I gotta work on that. Cool. So let me look at
the Visual Basic at Pierce. Are you looking it up?
That's the thing. I'm not too sure I mean, if it articulates and it counts as a class for them, then it should count. Now, again, when it comes to civil, mechanical, aerospace, they recommend MATLAB. Electrical, here's the thing, like electrical engineering, one thing I learned about at UCLA, they want you to do some programming, right? C++ and all that. But their undergrads, I asked them, what about MATLAB, right? Well, yeah, we expect them to know it, but then they don't really teach it, right? So it's like one of those course programs that's like, you should, if you could take it.
I did the processing for all my data in my master's program was all on MATLAB, and I never used it because I was a physics major, and everyone was just using it as if they knew, like they learned it. So I was playing catch up and trying to use it for 2 years. So it's a skill as a science major. You need to know how to program. And something I was hoping you could add was about or add more to is that the programs, the languages all kind of are similar, no? Like if you pick one up.
Like, that's the thing. Like I have students that it's just how user friendly it is. Like it's some people that had the C++ background have an easier time kind of getting to know the language and the environment of programming. But what we're doing in MATLAB is actually making it more useful or more applied. I don't want to say useful, more applied in that we're actually using it to solve engineering problems. Like in Physics 101, most likely you did projectile motion. Well, you can automate it, right? You can automate, okay, here's my initial velocity, here's my angle. You just give us some time increments and then you press run and boom, you have a nice little plot telling you that could spit out the highest, the highest height. Can I say that? Or the furthest distance, right? And just by automating that, right? So it's more applicable as a tool.
One of my
good, Sasha.
Yeah, one of my exam questions in MATLAB is also something that you could solve if you sit there and do the math for like an hour, or you could put it into MATLAB really quickly, and I set it up that way and just solve it like that too.
And here's the plus also, like if you start looking at job descriptions, right? Start looking at job descriptions and see what some of the skills already, if you can, and look, even if it's not part of the degree, like welding, right? Machine shop. How many of us really have that experience? And the benefit of trade tech, I know we're in the pandemic, we have some of these courses. If you can fit them in now or in the future, you should knock them out. But some job descriptions you're going to find are, you're going to say programming, preferably MATLAB, knowing a CAD software, SolidWorks, Fusion 360, AutoCAD. So all those are kind of good resume builders, right? That will help you even as you transfer afterwards. Manufacturing workshop, cool. Anything that could kind of get you more hands-on experience, the better, because that's what's going to set yourself apart from other engineers.
Oh, sorry. So I think we covered a lot, and so for now maybe we can just open it up to if anyone has any questions whatsoever. We don't have a timeline or anything else, but anything else. Oh yeah, you know, I have that slide about the summer like research programs. Let me put that up. Do you want to talk about that, or if you have it?
The summer research program?
Yeah, so Isla is asking about how do you know when you're ready to start interning and doing jobs like that?
I don't have, let me see if I can find it.
I have it, I gotta find it really quickly. It's the one with the summer stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
Just keep your questions coming.
Yeah, I'll look at the chat.
I'll say a lot of these jobs you might not be ready for. You know, you might not meet the minimum requirements, but unless you start, you're never going to be ready for them, right? Or you might not think you are. So you want to just start applying even with no experience, and you want to start reworking everything you do to match some sort of experience. So if you have been taking Zoom classes for the last year and you know, maybe you haven't had any science experience, you can talk about the labs, right? You can say, hey, I took this. Actually, I wrote that in a letter of recommendation for one of the students from 2 semesters ago. And you guys know that circular motion lab that you just finished? She did hers on a pickle jar and the forces you need to open a pickle jar. And I used that in the letter of recommendation to talk about how she was able to apply physics to everyday life around us, right? So even if you don't feel like you're ready or you might not have the requirements or experience, you want to find anything that you do and turn it into that, right? Like, yeah, and anything like that. And then you want to start applying. It's a numbers game. Apply as much as you can and see where you get in. A lot of the summer programs are usually have deadlines in like January, February. So you want to start looking now. Yeah.
And also look at school. Like there's a lot of internships with JPL, right? I know there's a lot of opportunities for you to kind of get exposed to research and so NASA, they always have summer internships. So not just with companies, but also with universities or science centers, right? And so typically as these opportunities come up, we try to share them with our students with the deadlines and for them to apply. So yeah, no, they not look beyond industry also for more opportunities, because they know that, you know, sometimes students don't have that much opportunities to work in industry, but you can do that, and you should continue that even when you transfer. Like, because when you transfer at the four-year universities, typically a lot of professors do research, and so you have an opportunity to actually work in their labs and work on like some cutting edge stuff that could potentially motivate you to get your master's and PhD. Where's that one? There's also NCAS, but I think the deadlines are not open yet.
NCAS just passed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to kind of keep them organized. But going back to, let's see if I can share, like this class is so important for a lot of your engineering courses. Like, just like, you know, if you guys are civil engineers, you know, what happens if you have a weak foundation and an earthquake comes? Right. So it's important that, and here's my experience with physics. There was a lot of physics is challenging because you're getting thrown a lot of information, right? A lot of, you know, you're it's just like programming. If you haven't even done programming before, or I know some of you have done it, it's a steep learning curve, meaning you have to learn the new language. You have to kind of get used to the environment of how do you think things through and problem solve. But once you get it, once you figure out, okay, it's just like, learning English. Right now I can put words together, put sentences, paragraphs, and then a whole essay together to argue a point or whatever it may be. But my point is, like, it's physics for me was hard. The physics sequences was difficult because it was new to me. The environment, the college environment was new. And then you're getting thrown so much information, right? And then you continue that for physics 102, 102, 103. But how you get out of that is going to determine how well you're doing really in engineering and in life, right? And what's going to happen is, here's the benefit of engineering. You're going to learn or reinforce some of these concepts. It's going to be more tailored, more specific as you go to the more engineering courses. So for statics, it's essentially some of the forces equal to zero. Some of the moments are equal to zero, but it's so applied to specific, like to bridges, right? So applied to structures, and you start looking at that, but it's foundational. Simple things as vector notation and unit vectors and right, Cartesian coordinates. That's so important that it's going to make your life easier once you have that good foundation and notation and units and all that, sig figs. So that's critical, and that's going to continue. And then you're going to, later on, you're going to go into classes just on concrete, right? Just if you're doing civil engineering or whatever it may be, but that's like the fourth year, but it's going to be dependent on physics and your lower engineering courses. And what's going to happen is some of you are going to work for companies or even work for the city and state. Civil engineers, they get their professional engineering licenses. And what do they have to do? Take a big exam that's going to review all their physics, all their engineering and everything. So if you didn't really made an effort to learn, right, as you progress through engineering, you cannot get away from it because you have to really understand it. And if you have a weak foundation, right, your building is going to collapse with an earthquake. So now's the time to really strengthen your knowledge. And we have a class called Strength of Materials. If you actually bend the material, you strain it, you code work it, you make it stronger. Right. So if you actually, it's known about materials. So if you actually go through that stress, that struggle, those challenges, don't do any shortcuts, you will become stronger because that's part of the mama mentality. How do you get better every day and challenge yourself?
So the last thing I think I want to leave you guys with is, after we've, gone online and we went on Google and you look for your courses, you can go through Assist and figure out the specific courses for your major, right? For your major here. And you can, of course, figure out what are the minimum requirements, which are, your physics and your math, and start to sprinkle in your GE classes. This is what we recommend. And Dr. Navarro and I have thought about these courses for a long time. And we really kind of, based on student recommendations also, and how to fulfill those exact, that course pattern that you need. This is what we recommend almost in priority order to make sure you get your English 1 and 2 done as soon as possible, and get that speech requirement, because this speech requirement will keep you from getting accepted into the Cal States. And then finally, History 11 and Political Science, those will fulfill those requirements, and they're also recommended. And finally, if you have time, because maybe you stayed an extra semester, you can start fulfilling these courses too. And that's how you start to complete the IGETC if you want to complete it. But you'll see that your time will be spent on a lot of things, and also add in applying for summer programs so that you could eventually do some sort of summer research. Yeah.
Political science required for admission?
Say that again, Randy?
Political science required for admission?
I don't think it's one. Is it? Navarro, do you know? I know
We have to look. Yeah, we have to look at the, because there's some required course. If it's a UC, some of them say it's required, so you have to be careful.
The time to graduate or for the admission?
For admission. For admission, you have to meet at the minimum the course pattern sequence, the 7 course pattern, and these are the 5. And this is just the it's whatever's in this subject, but we recommend just to take political science.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only ones I don't have are political science and labor studies.
Oh, okay. Do you have anything else in this subject or just the
No,
course?
that's the one that's planned. I'm planned to take that one. But like a counselor told me I didn't have to take it so that I could take it in the summer just before the fall.
You
And they
could.
said that would be better to do because, I didn't need it.
I would put it in the plan, as if you're going to take it in the spring. Just
Sooner
in,
than like the time I need to have it before I apply, basically.
I would recommend to have it at least in the plan of courses you will take, which ends in spring. And then later, if you end up not taking it in spring, they will allow you to take that course in the summer. So it'll be okay. But I would recommend to have these checked off. This is like bare minimum for sciences that you want to have checked off.
So like poli-sci, that's that US government one.
Uh-huh. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I took that. I actually really enjoyed that class. I liked all these classes. And I was asking anyone out there if we're having trouble finding a good instructor for communications, the speech class.
Oh, Mock. Professor Mock.
How do you spell that?
MOCK. I have his email if you need it.
Yeah, if you want to maybe drop it in the chat, that's a good class. Thank you. That's a good.
Amazing guy. He
I
writes my recommendation letters.
Yeah, I really like that you guys are asking about that, and thank you to Dr. Navarro for asking that. And again, these letters of recs, we can find out so much information about you that'll help us write the letters. One is with the name card assignment that you have this week, but usually when students are emailing me, if they're very very active in class, I don't have any problem writing a letter for them. I know what to say because you all stay and tell me and we talk, right? But if you don't, then usually I have a Zoom meeting with them and I go in and ask you things. So sometimes it might be helpful for you to just meet with a professor. Tell them your story, tell them your story and why you're taking that class, and it'll help them write a letter. And you don't want a generic letter. You want a personal letter because that's what really helps. Yeah. Thanks, Randy, for that recommendation. We were kind of knocking ourselves crazy yesterday trying to find someone.
Don't be intimidated too by talking
Yeah.
to your professors.
Yeah.
Even though sometimes they could look intimidating, but yeah, no, don't let that. Remember, the only limits that are there for your future are yourself. So if you're afraid, if you're not sure, again, you're the one limiting yourself and your potential, right? No one else. Don't let no one else or anything external to you. Right now, we're going through a pandemic, and it sucks, right? And it's tough for everyone. But always find opportunity, right? So to kind of improve yourself and get better. And I'm so happy that you guys are taking Physics 101 and are still continuing your path to education, because no matter what life throws at you, right, you are there to kind of overcome it, and are committed to doing whatever you can to be at that better version of yourself, right? Hashtag mama mentality.
And this is always out. Always out, it's always there. Along with my coasters.
I also reference Yoda too.
Yes.
So in psychology, this is what we teach in Intro to Engineering, is that growth mindset, right? Which is essentially is the mama mentality. And what happens is that there's a scene where Yoda was training Luke Skywalker, and when they were trying to take the X-wing out, right? So at the time, Luke was actually having the fixed mindset. He's always complaining, oh, it's too much work, right? Or it can't be done. So it's similar to what students say. It was too much homework. Oh, the lectures are too long. There's always complaints and blaming of others. Whereas a person that is a growth mindset is, oh, this is an opportunity for me to learn, because yes, it could be challenging. I'm not used to it, but you're going to learn, right, to kind of master it and become a Jedi, right? So essentially that's part of that mindset that we try to develop for students, because engineering is challenging, but that's the fun of it, right? Life would suck if you're just doing things that are just kind of whatever, right? And just, so you want to challenge yourself and grow and get better, and see how you stack up, as Kobe would talk about, right? See how you measure yourself against others and yourself, right?
So guys, I just, want to thank you again for staying. Today again was optional. So I'm really, really proud of you guys for staying the whole time and, just being here to learn about your classes. If you have any other questions, we'll stick around for some time. Just, we have at least a half hour, but, we're done. Yeah, we're,
Also,
uh-huh.
you probably shared it with them too. I have like a Discord channel.
Yeah.
And to kind of just have we have some resources there, and what's challenging is that normally we would have a library to study. I mean, we're just trying to provide opportunities for you guys to kind of engage with each other. It sucks that we have to be separate for this. We have to be safe, right? But any opportunities for you to learn and study with each other, not shortcuts. I keep saying shortcuts, cheat. And opportunities to kind of help each other out, right? And then to kind of engage with your professors and all that. So that's there. Feel free to say hi. Put some memes in there.
Yeah. In Physics 102, we have a meme assignment. So I'll see
Cool.
some of you in Physics 102 with the meme assignment. We have a meme parade.
Awesome.
Yeah. So again, guys, have a good weekend. Email me if you need anything. I'll stick around. And if you all could just help me thank Dr. Navarro for coming right after his class to our class and spending time. And he was incredibly eager to meet you guys. So
as you can see from my face.
yeah. So guys, if you could, a virtual thank you to Dr.
No
Navarro.
problem. Yeah, I'm here. Just give them my info here. I'll put my email.
Yeah.
Also, in case you guys have any questions or would like to know more.
Why are you so why do you damage your keyboard like that?
It's a mechanical keyboard. I feel more like I'm getting more stuff done.
I have to tell you guys, we share an office, and this is the thing that drives me nuts. I keep thinking like, oh my gosh, the lifetime of this keyboard is just gonna it's reduced like daily because he's just like
So couple of things. One is something mechanical, something movement, and it just I love it, right? I'm like going away. I'm like feel like I'm productive. Two, it annoys my cube mate too. I gotta find Discord has a way to filter out. It uses some types of algorithms to filter out the sound of a keyboard, and some graphic cards do that too.
I don't mind the sound. So much energy on your part to like attack the keys the way you do. If you guys could just see what I'm talking about, like Jesus. I should add too that if you had a positive experience in my class, same positive experience in Dr. Navarro's class, but it's different, but it's positive experience. So I hope you guys do consider continuing your STEM coursework at Trade Tech. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. We get all kinds of students from everywhere, huh?
Yeah, we have from all over right now.
And I mean, that's one of the benefits in my intro class. There's students I'm getting from like Pierce and Mission, and for sure, like they would have not had the opportunity to take them anywhere else, right? Because of the distance.
Man, they're coming up with so many good reasons to attack the keyboard.
Off a huge mug of
Meanwhile,
coffee. I got my mug of coffee right here.
Like gently tapping a keyboard, like
No.
I don't hear anything. That's actually also a question we'll have in Physics 102. What is that material and that mechanical process between the keyboard that you hear? What is the signal that is sent once you reduce that distance from the actual key to the pad? It's an electrical material there. Yeah.
Cool.
Anyone going to BU? Okay, guys. So again, I said, you're welcome to stay. I'm gonna stop recording, and yeah, you're welcome to stay. We'll be here for at least a few more minutes. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you all soon. Go to the conference.
Oh yeah, the conference.
Yeah, that's where I'm gonna go right now.
All right. Bye, Keon.
Have fun. Ask questions at the conference.